Today I want to talk about the Sinclair method, and it's a very controversial type of procedure to help people taper off and to get to sustainable sobriety. And it works for some people, but it's very controversial, and I certainly have my attitudes towards it, and I will pontificate on them, to say the least, through a lot of experience. But we're talking about alcohol use disorder, and if you have somebody in your family who's suffering from, alcohol addiction, and they drink continually on a basis, it's obviously interrupting their life, their relationships, their health, and their productivity. Well, people try lots of different things. And what the Sinclair method is, it was originally established by a doctor by the name of John Sinclair, and it goes very closely in hand with a medication called Naltrexone, which is an alcohol blocker. So the idea behind it, and it has to be really administered this way, is the person is supposed to take a naltrexone tablet an hour before they begin to drink. So the alcohol doesn't really take effect, and it blocks their desire supposedly to continue to drink. And it's a tapering off idea. So within 3, 4, 5 months, that person no longer drinks because they've tapered off. So you have somebody that drinks a case of beer in a day, they start taking naltrexone an hour before they drink, and it becomes less and less. So they go from maybe 24 beers a day to 15 to 10 to 5, and then they have a thing called extinction, which is really the goal, where they get to the point where they don't drink at all. Now, there's a few things that need to be debunked about this. I'm going to talk about this in the next section. And again, I have a complete coaching program which is designed for people who are ready to change the why in their life. Why are they drinking? We're going to reinvent you. We're going to put you on a path for sustainable sobriety for the rest of your life. We're going to make you create habits and allow you into a world of what's going on with you. And let's figure it out. It's for you. It's for your family. Click on the link. Set up a breakthrough call. It takes about 45 minutes. The call is free. The course is definitely not. I'm looking for people who want to change their life and the life of their family forever. Now, to begin with, on the surface, this seems like, wow, this should work great. Somebody takes a medication and they're going to, wean themselves off of alcohol. Yeah, if anybody knows anything about alcohol use disorder, that's not actually how it works. That's not how the mind works. In fact, you're not dealing with the core issue of why somebody's drinking at all. You're only dealing with the surface problem, which is stopping somebody from drinking alcohol. And again, alcohol use disorder has nothing too little to do with the actual alcohol itself. It's about repressed emotions, anxiety, stress, anger, frustration, depression, and a plethora of other combination of things like bipolar, ADHD, PTSD, a host of other things. The reason why people drink could be as telling as the people who drink. The point is, you're only solving the Band-Aid of the problem. So you get somebody to stop drinking, even at the most successful level, and they go to extinction. Well, they still haven't dealt with the issue of why they started to drink to begin with. You've just kind of covered it up. This is what you call a dry drunk. And that person has a high potential, because they stop drinking, to go to a lateral move. Maybe they go to food or some other drug like marijuana or cocaine or some other drug, or they go to gambling or some other form of addiction to cover up the initial problem. So it's just covering up the surface problem. It's not really, the person is not facing what their real issue is, which is what we've just discussed. Now, in the Sinclair method's corner, I think it might be good for people who are in the earlier stages. Somebody before they've become chemically, emotionally, and physically addicted to the alcohol, before they've become a stage 3 or a late stage 4 alcoholic, before they've become completely immersed in the disease. The unfortunate problem is most people, they don't have the self-awareness to realize that they have a problem until it becomes a problem in their life and in their relationships and in their productivity. So you have to get to the point where admit that you have a problem. The only thing is, most people who finally get to the point where they realize they have a problem are past the point of self-determination. Now, you have to get somebody to actually take a pill an hour before they drink. Most late-stage alcoholics, they don't want to do that. And even with other drugs like antabuse, which can make somebody physically ill and you can get a shot, they'll wait the 2 weeks and won't drink until they can drink again when that drug wears off, and they'll just get back into it. They want to continue to drink, and they're going to find and circumnavigate the way it actually works. You're dealing with an irrational mindset, okay, in a rational type of setting. The Sinclair method on paper makes all the sense in the world, but you attached, someone who has alcohol use dependency, addiction. We're not talking about a rational mindset. We're talking about an addicted mindset, and they will circumnavigate and go around every wall you put in that way. So you have to work on that person's why, is what I'm talking about. You have to figure out why they're drinking, and that's what has to be worked on. This is why eradication from alcohol use disorder, complete abstinence from drinking, is really the most successful way for sustainable sobriety, so that somebody can stop for the rest of their life. Not for 3 or 4 months, not for 6 months, not for a year, but forever. And really, the very last thing I want to say, kudos to those people who have been successful with the Sinclair method. It does work on some people, I think, in the earlier stages, and more power to you. I'm not here to beat down those people, and I recommend people to use Naltrexone. Use every tool available in addition to group therapy and rehabilitation and detox and all the other counseling and things that are out there for you. It's all part of the plan, but it's not going to solve the problem. You can't. What I'm getting at is you can't take a pill and say, "Oh, I'm going to be fine now." That's not how it works. You got to work on you. Again, if my wife had taken it, it wouldn't have worked on her. There's no question. She was a late-stage alcoholic, and by the time she started getting serious professional help, it was too late. That's why it's so important. That's why I talk about these. It's about really finding and understanding what's going on with this disease, awareness and education. Her novel, her memoir is called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. And again, you can find it right on this website, on my website, in my link tree. It's also, there's an international link. It's on Amazon for the hardcover, and also Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the Apple website for the ebook. Thanks for listening.